All right, let's get this started. So, hi guys, it's Jeremy again from Turn Pages, and this is going to be a bit of an update video. I have not done a video in about a couple of weeks, and I do have a very good reason for that. I would never be gone for a couple of weeks without telling you guys. Um, for those of you who are here for books, because this is going to be a very diverse channel, I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff in the coming weeks. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this before, so this is going to be a chock full of information kind of video, really a big update and generally a whole bunch of things. This channel is no longer going to be just strictly books anymore, because since I do work full-time as well as doing something else full-time as well, which I'm going to be getting to in just a little bit. This channel is no longer going to be just strictly books, but it's also going to be doing movie reviews, TV show season reviews, as well as just overall TV show series reviews. I might even do a little bit of video game reviews. I'm not a huge gamer, and I don't identify as being called a gamer just because I'm more of a casual person. I'll play here and there. I really love a lot of the Lego games. I love Lego Lord of the Rings, Lego Star Wars, Lego The Hobbit. All of those games are fantastic. And in terms of books, I am currently reading a book currently, and the book I'm actually reading is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. If you may or may not know, this is the last in the Mortal Instruments series, and I am very almost done with it. I have 2 chapters left. I have chapter 24 and the epilogue, which I am hopefully going to have done by the end of the week, because this week's going to be busy, especially with Valentine's Day, and work gets a little bit busy. Another big update that's going to be changing in my personal life is that I am going back to working days starting in, hopefully, it's tentative right now because they do have to replace me before I can go. Excuse me, my throat's being like really froggy today. That's why I have Starbucks. And so I think right now how I have it looked at, it's going to be anywhere between May to June, maybe July. We'll see what happens. But but by the way, this will be the next book review I do. This may not be the next video you see me do, but in terms of book and book reviews, this will be the next one I review. Now I've also been asked on multiple videos if I'm writing a book. I was writing 2 books. I was writing an urban fantasy series, and I also was writing a memoir. The memoir is going to be something that's going to be written throughout the course of my lifetime. I'm not going to write the whole thing right now and then publish it. But I am writing a brand new book, and I can tell you the title because I think that saying the title is safe, and even if someone else uses this title, it doesn't really matter. Cassandra Clare was not the first person to title her book City of Bones, so I think I'm okay. My novel, my new one, is going to be a contemporary LGBT romance novel, but it's not just romance. I don't really consider this book to be a romance. And it might be a little bit early to be telling you guys about it, and I'm not really going to be telling you in detail what it is until it's ready, until I'm done with it. So I've been writing it on and off probably for about a week. That's not a whole lot, and maybe that's a little early to be making a video telling you guys about it, but a lot of you guys have been asking me if I'm writing a book, and I just want to verify that I am. This one is completely different from anything else I have ever written, and for the fact that it's a bit different because this one is being written in script dialogue, and if you don't, and if you're not quite familiar with that term and that's where the mostly the entire book is written in dialogue form alone. This book will have narration, third-person narration, and omniscient narration throughout the course of the book if, someone walks out of the room or someone joins the conversation or what have you. I'm currently 23 pages into my manuscript, and that's pretty exciting for me. I am over 7,000 words into my manuscript, which is also very exciting. That's actually a lot of pages considering there's only 7,000 words typed, but that's because the way the layout is, and I am writing this on Microsoft Word, Times New Roman font 12, which is the normal font and text of of normal books anyway. But it's only because since it's, I would write a line, and if they would finish it, it would be another one. So I'd press enter, and it would be like that, and that's like that's the whole book is. But this will be this book will contain LGBT characters, and basically, this book has a lot of things from my own personal life in it. This has a lot of things that mean a lot to me, and music has a very big impact on this book. As I do listen to a lot of music and very diverse music when writing this book. Not all the time, but I do really enjoy it. All of my favorite soundtracks and bands are constantly being played in the background as I write. This book, once again, will have two male characters, and one of them are very, very different. And I think I'm pretty much okay with telling the names because they're just names. One of them is James, who is a person of color. That was a very, very big, very important decision that I decided to make because I think we deserve more diverse characters in fiction. This is also going to be an adult contemporary novel, so it will be definitely adult and categorized as adult. This is not new adult, nor is it definitely not YA. There is no sexual nature to this book, but there will be very extensive graphic conversations in terms of sexuality, sex, nudity, other things. It's more like conversations about those topics, not really actually showing you those topics or anything like that. But my two main characters are James Rodriguez and Oliver Lewis. The last names might change, but the first names are definitely very, very much staying. And really, I wanted to write a book where it does feature LGBT characters, and I wanted to write one of them being a person of color because I think that's very, very important, and we need more diversity in fiction. We need it badly. And there's been a lot of hate saying, we don't need diverse books. Yes, we do. Yes, we do, because for one, I may be a white male, but I'm particularly getting very, very tired of seeing white characters in every single book I read. There's never diverse characters. There's never enough LGBTQ representation in literature, and I wanted to write a book that featured a little bit more diversity, and it means a lot to me to have a character in there. But both of my characters are very flawed, very broken, very shattered souls, and basically they're very different from one another, but they also have a lot of common interests. You can be friends, lovers with somebody who is very different from you, but that doesn't mean that you can't find common interests to each other because James and Oliver are very different characters. James is a very wild, free spirit. He kind of goes with the flow. He doesn't regret what he does or says. He just says it. And if it's a mistake, he'll worry about it. A very common phrase that he often has said is "the consequences be damned," because why worry about something? Why linger on something when you can just let it go? And Oliver is very different. He very ponders things. He's a very reclusive character in terms of his personality, and in a lot of the terms that he says. He kind of jokes around a little bit, but the story that I wanted to tell as characters is by the end of the story, I want Oliver to kind of break out of the shell and kind of embrace life and embrace living, because but there are some reasons as to why he has remained so completely closed. He has gone through massive tragedy in his life, and I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to ruin things. But when you guys eventually get to that point, if you decide to pick this book up and buy it when it comes out, I will in fact be self-publishing this book through CreateSpace.com, so you'll only be able to get a hard copy via Amazon, but it will be available in Kindle form as well through I'm gonna try to get through Amazon, Smashwords, BarnesandNoble.com, things like that. And it was very important to me to tell a story of shattered and flawed people. My characters are not described as phenomenally beautiful characters. They don't see themselves as ugly. You know, they're typically normal weighted characters, because I don't like where I read a book and I see so many characters have a lot of insecurities about the way they look. It kind of does get really boring, but also at the same time, it's very realistic because a lot of people do struggle with those things a lot, and you know, I do respect those things that are there. We have a lot of side characters that are going to be introduced. One of my favorite characters, her name is Diana. She is the Diana and Katie, who are the two best friends to Oliver, and we're going to get to see them in day 2. When I say day 2, there is going to be 14 chapters plus an epilogue. This story spans 2 weeks, and so each chapter is in a day. And so we go through this, and the chapters are quite long. The first chapter was 21 pages. And so we get to go through this book following these characters every single day, and so on and so forth. And it's going to, and there were some decisions I made when writing the first chapter where I was a little bit worried that what I was doing was a little bit too fast in terms of what they would discuss. You know, most people would not write that, you know, within knowing this person for a day. But at the same time, I was like, you know what, this is my book, and I want to write what I want to write. And at the same time, I also wanted to say that you'd be really surprised at how well you really can get to know somebody when you're sitting there talking to them all day long. That somewhat happens in this book, because at the very beginning of chapter 1, James and Oliver are very much acquaintances, and by the end of the first chapter, they're friends, and we get to see them talk about some really heavy issues and really interesting topics, and I'm really excited to see where I will take these characters through the next 13 chapters, technically 14 if you count the epilogue. So I'm very, very excited to see where I'm gonna take these characters and see where this story ends up. I have a pretty good idea where I want it to do, and I already have one big twist that's gonna happen in chapter 13. That's gonna be a big one, which is going to affect every single character in this book. For the most part, once again, I only have 23 pages with 7,200 words typed. And what I do is every single day I write 1,000 words, which is not a whole lot if you really think about it, but you do that 7 days a week, that's 7,000 words. 2 weeks, that's 14,000. You do that for a month, that's anywhere. Well, this month, if I started at the very beginning, I've only been writing for like a week, if that, maybe like 5 days. And so, I mean, if you look at that, say in March is 31 days. If I write 1,000 words every day, that's 31,000 words in a month. And I think doing that, writing only 1,000 words every day, I can take my time with it and not super like get stressed out or anything. This book is not on Goodreads. This book is not I don't have deadlines by a traditional publisher. I can just take my time and write the story that I want to tell. And one of the biggest aspects of this book that I wanted to make was I want to really be able to get to know almost every aspect of my two characters. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And I think that writing this book has been, or at least so far, I mean, like I said, I'm only 23 pages in, but this is very different from what I have tried to write before, because I think I've gotten no more than maybe 10, 15 pages into any story, and I've just ended up stopping. And I've tried writing every writing style imaginable, first person narrative for present, second, third, I've just never been able to find a story that I could really connect to, and writing this in script dialogue has been a absolute joy and a pleasure, and it's also been a lot of fun because I can actually work on the third person scenes that are in third person, and some that are also in the omniscient perspective. And if you don't really know what omniscient perspective is, that is basically an outsider that is looking onto the scene, that's watching what's happening. And I really, really think that that kind of point of view writing is actually very fun. And so all the scenes that are third person are the ones that I'm being very careful with exactly how I word them. Those are probably going to be the ones that get like really picked apart and edited very refinedly when the editing stage comes. My goal is to have this book completely finished by January 1st of 2018. So let's see, this is February, and if we do not count February, let's see, that's March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So that gives me 10 full months to write this book. That's a lot, especially if I'm writing 1,000 words every day. I don't know how long this is going to be. I have planned that I do want every single day slash chapter to be 20 pages long. So if I look at that, I'm looking at it about a 300-page book, because I want at least 300 pages for the story, especially since this is in script dialogue, and script dialogue books tend to read really quickly. I want it to be at least 300. So when this does come out, the paperbacks are probably going to have to be about $14, just because it's self-publishing and it is what it is. My goal is to self-publish, and once they're self-published, and they're out in ebook and paperback, and as they're there for people to discover and read and what have you, while they're already self-published, I plan on writing query letters and trying to get it traditionally published as well. And I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue sending them, hopefully doing that until I can hopefully find a publisher that will publish my story and won't rip it to pieces. Hence why I have decided to stay with hence why I have decided to self-publish it, because traditionally publishing has become incredibly difficult to get picked up these days. A lot of the traditional publishing companies don't really like self-publishing. They want people to get traditionally published. The only problem is it kind of goes beggars can't be choosers kind of situation, because they want people to be more self-published, but then again, they'll either say, we don't want your manuscript, you need to work on it more, this has to be changed, we want this changed, and this changed. And a lot of people have actually been given offers. Taryn Fisher is actually one of them that was given a offer to get her book The Opportunist published years and years ago, but long before it was ever self-published. And basically they told her, we want you to change this, change Olivia, change this, this, and this. And she basically said, fuck you, I'm not doing that shit. And so she made Olivia like 1,000 times worse. And she culminated a very large fan base online, Goodreads, Twitter, Instagram, etc. So she really does have a not a extensive large fan base like J.K. Rowling, E.L. James, Stephanie Meyer, or Rick Rider, or anything like that fan base, but she does have a group of several thousand readers that reads everything that she writes. She just came out with her newest book, which is called, I think it's called Bad Mommy, and I'm hopefully to order that on Amazon soon, because I have all of her other books, and her book Mudvayne is one of her personal favorites. But I have been a very deep supporter of self-published authors for years and years. I've been reading self-published authors for ever since 2012. So that is basically what I'm going to be doing. And so this is a very long, in-depth video. I tend not to do videos like this because it kind of gets to me, like, either subconsciously or unsubconsciously, because it kind of like picks apart my brain. It's like, well, you're telling people about this, then it's going to discourage you and you're not going to want to write. That's not really the case, because I feel like the story is very, very different from everything I've tried to write before. I will be giving you guys writing updates over the following months. Probably at the very end of February, I'll give you a writing update. I'll tell you how many pages I have written so far and how many words, and I'll do that at the end of every single month. I'll do a video when I have told you that the first draft is done, and I'll kind of give you guys all these updates throughout the course of 2017 on where I am in terms of etc. Right now, I have a tentative release date of May 2018. Release date. That's not on Goodreads or nothing. That's just what I've chosen. So once the book is done, hopefully by January or at least no later than the 1st of February, I can start like deeply editing it and getting that ready for publication. But I just realized I also forgot to tell you the title. The title is called Two Sides of the Coin. And I've chosen that title because these are about these two characters that they are human beings. They have human hearts, but they're in a way they still represent different sides of humanity. They both think, live, breathe, experience the same similar things. They're different, but they are also incredibly similar, and I am very, very happy that I came up with that title because I think it's beautiful and it fits my characters and it definitely fits the story that I'm trying to tell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that when this does eventually come out that you guys will check it out and maybe even read it or tell your friends about it. It's not going to be published yet, so it's not out there yet if you haven't watched the whole thing. So it's not out yet. It will be out. It will be published next year. Like I said, 7,200 words, 23 pages. I'm not even close to publication yet. But a lot of you guys have been asking me if I'm writing a book, and I did kind of want to officially say yes, I am. So I will talk to you guys in my next video, which will be next week, where I review City of Heavenly Fire. My review of that probably will be up on Wednesday or Thursday of next week. So until then, I'll see you guys later, and love you guys. Bye.